Market Access 4.0.
Welcome here to our webinar here at LinkedIn. We welcome you here to our webinar, Optimize Your Market Access Performance When Artificial Intelligence Meets Virtual Reality. Just before we start today, give me a short introduction on Mars, what we are doing and why we are here. Mars is a consulting company from Germany. It's called Market Access minus Pricing Strategy. And you can find our website, www.marketaccess-pricingstrategy.de. And we do what our name says. We are a consultants company for pharmaceutical products and for medical devices also, and doing market access and pricing strategy. And with that, we do the whole work from the beginning, like, early payer research, GVDs writing, and then we're looking for the first reimbursement codes. Then we're writing dossiers, and later we do the negotiation. And within that work, we just thought there might be some really good things to do, new tools, and maybe we could do the work more efficient. And that's why we developed three cool tools for you. One is the Max Insights, which is like an artificial-based search engine for reimbursement coding. EU5, US, Canada, and many more countries are coming. Then we developed a dossier writing bot, which is really cool because it's just going to be upload, and then it's pre-filling you the dossiers. For example, the unlock dossier, you have to turn in when you have to bring, if you want to bring a drug in Germany to the market. And then last but not least, and that's why we're here today, we have developed our wafle, and just Stefan will later tell you what this is all about. And that brings me actually to our webinar today, and today to our guests. With me is the founder and CEO of Mars, Stefan Walzer. Hello, Stefan.
Hi, Lutz. Good to have you.
And then again, we have also on the show here our good friend from the Ukraine. It's Gleb Kudybov. Hi, Gleb.
Hey, Lutz. How are you?
Good to see you. So we are talking today about optimizing performance when artificial intelligence meets virtual reality. Stefan, what is this about?
Yeah, Lutz, I think you already, put a lot in your introduction. I think ultimately, and you can probably go already to the next slide, I think we have had, discussions not only with clients, but obviously also internally. We also had different experiences in our previous lives, for example, in the industry, but also, Lutz, you were also coming from other industries. I must change the micro, Lutz. You cannot hear me.
No, we have some back noise again.
I don't know. I just used the one what I put in there before. Would work basically in the intro. Clip, do you have problems listening to me?
No.
Okay, so maybe it's your loudspeakers, Lutz. But anyway, let's go back, because not everything can be solved with AI, maybe, because this may be just simply the kind of microphone or the headphones or whatever else. So just getting back to the content, and Lutz, I think you brought already up, I think, the right kind of question. So what is it really about? I think it's about optimization, but I think it's especially, and that's, I think, the interesting piece, when artificial intelligence is meeting virtual reality. But obviously, we're not only, doing, as you said, Lutz, cool things. I think it's ultimately also and especially to solve maybe issues in the industry, and especially, obviously, for our clients and or also for our kind of daily work. So what is the background around? When we basically as well develop different kind of trainings, especially around negotiations, but we also had discussions, for example, with clients who had to train their sales representatives or also their key account managers before they went or maybe have gone to different kind of key accounts and KOLs. They had the kind of issue what you see just on that slide, right? I mean, if you have a training, you have a lot of time, just a one-time training, no continuous training, not up-to-date materials, because that's just taking time. A lot of that basically will lead generally to ineffective training, but it's also around availability of trainers and sometimes especially also language restrictions. I mean, I can quite often speak English. I can quite often speak German, but the other kind of languages are already getting a bit more tricky in general. So what have we done? I think let's next slide. We are trying to offer a new concept in a way by utilizing state-of-the-art concepts, which is, as I said already a bit earlier, AI and also virtual reality in conjunction, but it could also be used separately, and that's what we'll see in the next couple of minutes. Why have we done so? I think what you see here as well, it's based to ensure permanent availability of individualized training, so you can do it and run it whenever you want. On top, it's also the possibility to vary through customized training scenarios. So it's not always the same thing what you learn, what we knew as well, maybe from school, maybe from universities. It's also changing, it can be adapted. And of course, it's then also even more effective because we also use the immersive experience through realistic sceneries. And of course, as I said it already a couple of minutes ago, we also allow for different languages, meaning it's also a big advantage for multi-language teams to work on. So directly getting into the kind of to the tool itself. So we have developed, and you see the two logos in there. One is Cubo and the other one is wafle. Both wafle and the Cubo, that's a training delivery, is both basically getting back to the artificial intelligence, which is included in Cubo. So what is it all about? Obviously and ultimately, Cubo is our objection handling artificial intelligence. It's using the latest information which is uploaded, and then users could basically use either an audio-based training method. So basically you speak to your, or let's say in your microphone, you're getting an answer back through your headphones if the mic works. Or the virtual training method is then when you use goggles and you also can basically join an immersive experience in a virtual reality environment. So far, so good. Maybe we just jump one slide further as well to really have a look step by step how the Cubo and or also the wafle might really work from a user's perspective. So first of all, and ultimately, before you can really start, let's say, learning, you need to create the materials, meaning you need to have an objection handling material. Starting from the left-hand side, you upload your document in Cubo, it's drag and drop, or you can just go into a folder and select your documents. Then the large language model is utilizing the kind of documents, all safe. I think we will speak as well about that a couple of minutes later. And then finally, you have the objection handling generated ready by the AI, and that within a couple of minutes. So it doesn't take any more weeks of work from individuals. We have done that, and we have done it basically until recently as well, where it's a lot of work, it's a hassle in a way, and at the end of the day, you still need to go through the kind of review process with clients or internal kind of processes. The objection handling is also allowing editing. So if you go in there and just say, maybe it's not yet in the way I want to have it, you can still edit it. You can also add your own questions or your own answers, and you can also import and or export the questions. But that's obviously not all, because that was just step one. So with step two, you can choose your questions out of the created catalog, meaning you can obviously take all of the questions you have generated, or you can maybe just select some of it. Just imagine you maybe use a global value dossier as a basis, and then you only want to maybe start first with the clinical benefit, or maybe with the cost effectiveness part, right? Then only those questions are being taken, and these are then created in, or let's say put into your tailored scenarios in the Cubo. What do we mean with scenario? Scenarios are different, let's say, types of discussions you could create. One is a communication style. So for example, it could be as well used that you say, the other person is maybe in a time rush, so everything is a bit more hectic and the questions are maybe a bit shorter and they want to get the answer very fast. It could be also a direct or a bold or even an angry kind of communication style where it's getting really tricky. I mean, you don't have a lot of time to answer. And also if the answer is not absolutely correct, you might as well get a bit more of an angry kind of response back. You see already it's communication back and forth with an avatar in that way. The other kind of scenario is that also based on the environment. So it obviously, as we all know, it depends a bit where you finally are. If there's a hospital, it's a payer office or a pharmacy, there might be big differences. And of course, the scenarios are then linked to each other, right? So you just say, we have a more, for example, board, payer, and office, and I want to have those questions then being discussed with that person. Or maybe it's more a pharmacy-friendly, a pharmaceutical kind of more friendly pharmacist in a hospital, and you can as well choose that kind of environment. And ultimately, I think that's obviously as well important because we mentioned that as well a bit earlier. It's also currently available in 4 different languages: English, German, French, and Spanish. And we're also working on further languages. I think that's probably not the biggest issue, but maybe also, again, a bit of a question to clip in a couple of minutes. So step number 3, because 1 and 2 is more creating your kind of scenarios, you're creating your basis for a discussion, your learning experience, which might take you maybe half an hour, maybe even less. Depends a bit how much of an effort you want to get in there. And then it's more the kind of question, do you want to get basically at first train audio only, meaning you speak while you're sitting maybe in your office, or as we just said, use it on the go, right? You could as well use it when you're maybe sitting in the car, when you're maybe traveling, when you're walking around. It's just different as you want to use it, right? It's basically very similar to a situation when you would have a call currently, right? You maybe get the kind of input through audio, then you speak to your speaker, and the AI behind is, let's say, translating as well your answer back and just checking how you responded, and gives you as well a performance evaluation. So that's a Cubo, which is more, as we said already earlier, audio in, audio out, and it's quite easy as well to utilize. But it's not yet that immersive. It can be very impactful. A lot of the clients we're currently speaking to are using both ways. So they sometimes even use first Cubo, then getting back to wafle, which is the virtual reality part, and then use as well for the continuous learning, because it's a bit easier to have it continuously available than the Cubo again. Step number 4 is then the so-called wafle, where we then dig into the virtual reality training, meaning you have realistic simulation environments. We have a couple of pictures in there. You have a dynamic live interaction, and I can tell you, I mean, when we tested it and when we have also used it, it really feels like you are in that situation, speaking with that avatar, with that person that's one in front of you, and you can also feel how the scenario has been created. So it's really an immersive virtual kind of experience. How does it look like? Let's just to give everybody a bit of an impression on the next slide. Train yourself 4.0, as we just say in wafle. Choose a location. So you put your goggles on. It's very simple. Get in there. You will have a user login based on Cubo. Then you get to choose your location. This is just an example. This is just a meeting room, what you see, or even an elevator. There could be different kind of scenarios and locations, obviously, well, to be added. We have now as well, just for the presentation today, we have just as well brought 2 examples, 2 exemplarily chosen avatars. One is Xavier and one is Xenia. So you could as well choose one of those. Obviously as well, it's a big kind of opportunity. You can add even yourself or maybe somebody else you want to mimic in there. And then you get into your immersive training, having a real-time dialogue with that avatar. So the avatar standing there, it's not only asking the question, but it's also welcoming you, speaking directly to you. I even tried it once by just asking if the avatar had already breakfast, and the avatar answered, yes, I did already. Thanks for asking. It was a cappuccino and a croissant. So that was very interesting to see. So it's really understanding what you're speaking about, right? And I think on top of that, and I think that's really important, you also receive feedback on your performance, and not directly, or sometimes even directly, that's so true, from the avatar. So if you say something wrongly, then it might even respond, the answer was not 100% correct. You should have said this or that. So you can really include that into your kind of training environment. And for yourself as well, you as well get a kind of score, a rating that you can also see how you advance your performance over time. So that's just everything in a rush currently. I think Lutz, you have as well said, there's a QR code. So we're also obviously happy to come with our team to showcase as well everything. But I think maybe getting back a bit more to the development phase, because we have just launched it a very few weeks ago. I think, Clip, great to have you. A lot of questions we get as well is around data security, safety of it. I mean, you as an expert as well, and especially around programming, etc. So how would you respond to that? How secure and safe is it? Because ultimately, we also want to upload information which are maybe more strictly confidential?
Thank you for asking, Stefan. Security is a very important point to us. Therefore, we built it by design. And by security, we mean that the information you upload, and we are well aware that this information can be something which is secret, which is not published, hasn't been published yet. So some materials which shouldn't be available to public. So important points is that everything which you upload into platform stays private to you or to your company, and it's never get mixed with anything else on the platform. Therefore, we built these mechanisms by design. So everything you upload stays with yourself. And as you know, we use AI at the backend, so some combination of LLMs. And these LLMs were built by design memoryless, so they never save no information that you put inside the LLM. So they forget it just after it generates your objection handling materials. So we build it as planned, and we are happy that it works this way.
That's perfect. I think linked to probably data security is also around IT integration. I think that's also what we heard a lot of times. I think obviously you just said, there's a large language model, there's probably a layer around it, right? So it's like, I think what we said a lot of times internally is more like a cocon, right? That nothing's getting in, nothing's getting out. But we all have been obviously experienced in the pharmaceutical medtech world. And for sure, there are a lot of, let's say, confidential information, meaning a lot of times companies as well want to integrate such kind of systems into their kind of IT ecosystem or infrastructure. Is that a possibility? And how would you envision that would be working?
So it depends what are the requirements. Stefan, fairly, I think it will be varying from case to case, depending what the company exactly wants. So currently it's more as a software as a service. So it's a secure web application where you get your credentials, and basically after that you can open your app in a browser and use Kubo or wafle. We also support SSO, so we are single sign-on capable in case you want to reuse your login and password that you use in your company environment. So we can build it in. So Kubo will use the same credentials. So I think that's the main points.
Okay, but in general, it would also be possible to, let's say, integrate it, right?
Yes, it will be more effort than just to use it as a software as a service, but it's possible.
Okay, no, that's very good. Maybe also moving a bit away from, let's say, the obviously important kind of security and data kind of, let's say, question. You have seen and you see even more than, let's say, just the pharma world. Because, you're even, let's say, broader, and I think you're also coming, not at least from your experience, not directly from the pharma medtech world. Do you have any kind of other examples? Because I think at least what we have heard, this is at least one of the very first applications in the area of healthcare. Do you know where it is also used? Maybe even as a kind of positive show example that you could just say, look, this really helps in training and also getting better in terms of content for the individuals using it?
So abstractly speaking, the question answering systems, as tech people call them, have been there for a while. And they worked without AI before, so they didn't use LLMs, and they were not as effective as now. So we thought about it some time ago, and gave it several tries to develop something like this, and the technology was just not there yet. So now with LLMs and Gen AI, you can do this, and you can have really quality questions, really human-readable questions, and human-readable objection handling. So this is a good point. And I suppose it's either already used in some areas, not pharmaceutical areas, or will be used very soon because the technology is just there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think on top, I think what we have as well spoken in the past, I think in one of our podcast episodes we have as well recorded, the VR part, the virtual reality part and component has been obviously as well used in other areas. I think the thing would basically really stuck into my mind was the pilots, obviously, right? I mean, how would you otherwise get so many, let's say, experiences, especially maybe in extreme situations? That's also something what we as well offer in a way, because obviously if you use the virtual reality, it's a bit of a more stressful situation what you can also experience at a lot of more times, instead of just Clip speaking to me and Clip's trying to get more angry and pushy. I know that Clip is not a bad guy, right?
Generally speaking, no. But you're touching a really good point. So it makes a big difference if you're answering your or customer objections in the chat. Like you have a lot of service chats. If you go to any website, there will be someone who will be speaking to you via chat. Or if you're talking with a voice, so you're calling someone and someone is speaking to you. Or if you are really talking to the person in a virtual environment. So these are three different things, because first of all, you have different stress levels, and you used wafle as well. So when you put on the goggles, it really makes you feel like you're in the elevator with this person. You can almost feel him or her breathing, and it makes different stress situation. On the other hand, it has different timing. So in a chat or in a phone call, you can think, you can look somewhere, and here you can't. You just have to, continue doing conversation. And that's really great training, because this is what you will face when you will be speaking to person face-to-face soon. And as you mentioned, simulations. So, pilots do simulation hours before they go flying. Airplane pilots, car pilots, they also do virtual training in virtual reality before they really go on track. And negotiations is very similar. So why not really train in a safe environment, safe immersive environment before you go to the customer? So in my opinion, it's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. I can tell as well, everybody, out of my own experience, because we tried it as well before, when I took a negotiation lead in a price negotiation and we used the kind of goggles, it felt really already in that virtual environment very, let's say, precious. You could feel, I would start sweating, right? In a way, right? And you felt the stress. But it was also, on the other hand, after the kind of training, you were in the real situation, you recognize some of that, right? Either it was just generally stressful, and you were just still more relaxed. Your brain was relaxed. Your body was more relaxed. Hence, you could also optimize, obviously, the outcomes of the negotiation. And that's, I think, what you said as well, Philip. A negotiation is one example. If somebody needs to speak maybe to a pharmacist because of a new product, or to a physician who should maybe use a new product, or whatever else, right? Even if it's, let's say, simple, in quotes, kind of presentation in front of maybe of a new team, right? It is something more real. And I think in stressful moments, I think the brain is trying to take what it learned in the past. And if you have, let's say, repeatedly, as well, trained in a stressful environment like pilots do, you also optimize and hence can also, let's say, have a better result finally.
Exactly. And I would like to add 2 points to that. So first of all, when you put on the glasses, you get completely concentrated. So nothing distracts you. So you really have this quality 30 minutes or 1 hour talking to the avatar in a virtual environment. So you really have a quality learning time, because nothing stresses you, nothing distracts you. And another point that I would like to add, and you already mentioned this at the beginning, you can really set up your environment. So you can say, okay, this person in front of me, he is nice, or he's pushy, or she's not in the mood. So you can set this up in Kuba and Wafle, and we separated these 2 parts. So one part is really material and knowledge, and the other part is what kind of mood is that, in which environment are you, how do you want conversation to go, and so on and so forth. So this is very important, because we're all humans. And when we meet face-to-face, everything can happen. You can be in a good mood, you can have a bad mood. And Wafle gives you ability to train all possible scenarios.
Exactly. No, I fully agree. Thanks a lot. So I'm looking probably at you because you as well appeared again. I'm not sure. Do you have any kind of questions?
Yes, out of the audience. So first question is actually, what do I need to have to use Cubo or Wafle? What is my infrastructure? Do I need like a glass fiber cable, internet connection? Do I need a high speed PC? Can you give us a little bit? What do I need?
Yeah, Clip, do you want to first cover it very briefly? I mean, it's not a lot working here from an IT perspective, I presume.
So actually, you don't need much. So if you want to use Cubo, you just need your browser, and we'll give you an account, and you're ready to go. If you want to use wafle, you will need glasses. So we currently target Oculus 3, but it will also work for Oculus Pro, and soon we plan to make it work for Apple Vision. So you need glasses, and then you need to ask us for account. So, and then you will set up your scenarios or your knowledge in Cubo with your browser, and then you will put on your glasses, select your scenario, select environment, avatar, and yeah, you're ready to go.
Exactly. And maybe just to quickly add there, I mean, as you said, I think with the Cubo can be directly used in the browser version. I think especially if maybe you want to only use audio in, audio out, that's it. That's one possibility, right? I mean, if you want to move, let's say in the virtual reality direction, we have also packages available where one or maybe two pairs of virtual reality goggles are included. That's something, just ask us. And the other point is obviously, I mean, if you, for example, need more, I think we have currently a client who is planning to use it for their key account training. Obviously, they need a lot of more of those kind of goggles where we just said, look, we organize it, we rent it for them, we put everything on there, and then we come to the training, do it with them, with the client. And if it's just a one-off kind of VR training for all of those, let's say, staff, I mean, we take it again with us, but otherwise we can as well be supportive in getting the goggles to the clients.
That brings me to my next question, actually. Who can actually use that? What is like, what could be like possible applications? I mean, we were talking about, when you're presenting something, when you want to train yourself really into a challenging, probably into an oral hearing training, right? With a lot of question and answers going on, and you have to have really the answers by heart. But are there other scenarios?
I think it's really, really broad, right? I mean, ultimately, I think you brought already a couple of those in there, right? I mean, any kind of payer or any kind of negotiations, right? It could be a health hospital kind of pharmacist. It could be a national payer. It could be as well a presentation before, let's say, in front of let's say, kind of oral hearing kind of style, right? What is also happening in a couple of healthcare jurisdictions. But it could also be a bit, let's say, outside of the market access area, or let's say out of our healthcare payer market access area. I think there are a lot of, let's say, hearings and those kind of discussions on a regulatory basis, FDA, EMA, that's obviously as well something where you can use it on. But even let's say in the other direction, when you think about regulatory payer and then getting it more, maybe call it commercialized, you will as well have the opportunity, as I said already a bit earlier, key account management training, sales reps training, any kind of those kind of information can be used. Another interesting kind of application is we're currently as well just discussing with somebody in the US who wants to use Cubo, especially Cubo in the audio in, audio out, in order to support patients and pharmacists with questions in a pharmacy, right? So sometimes it's just general kind of question, how do I use that? What are the kind of adverse events, those kind of things? And a lot of times on some, or let's say put it that way, sometimes that's at least what pharmacists as well then told us around that project is that some patients do not want to ask it, let's say each time, not all of the questions, right? Sometimes a bit of a shame, sometimes even just a language issue. So that is where they just said, we need something more, right? And that's as well a potential application.
Perfect. Thank you. So, and then comes it to my last question, the most important questions. How do I get a demo of Cubo and Wafle?
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought it probably already in. Yes, thank you. Just send us an email. I think scan one of the QR codes. You have seen us there as well. And we're obviously happy as well to have maybe a first kind of discussion, what you exactly need. And we have as well a team, I think Rodrigo's as well on that, who is just one team member of the Cubo Wafle whole team. And we would also be happy to come over and present as well how Cubo is working, how the audio in, audio out, but also we would bring VR goggles with it, just that you get a bit of the feeling. Because I think what I normally say, I mean, if you have never, let's say, used and worn those kind of virtual reality goggles, I think you need to try it in order to really see the difference, to feel the difference.
Great. I think that's it for today. Any more comments, Stefan, Clip?
I think ultimately, I would just end, I say, in the way I think the future is already here. I think try it out. I think one of the, let's say, platforms we have utilized and just shown today is Cubo and Wafle, but we have as well a couple of more AI kind of platforms. I think, Lucy, you just brought it on. I think we'll continue as well having a couple of webinars, but if you're as well interested in some of the other AIs, just send us an email.
Perfect. And now actually we are done at 3:00. And now actually Glib has a really important appointment because now Ukraine is playing at the European Soccer Championship. Now, so I let you go to watch the soccer. It's a really important event, and we cross fingers for the Ukraine team for a win. Well, absolutely. That's it for today, and we wish you a nice summer, and we come back to you in about 2 weeks with the next webinar on our next product. So stay tuned here on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Market Access 4.0.